there, Heather Steves here, and today I want to share with you a layout that I've made with our Smarty Pants paper pack from Close to My Heart. I based my layout on this sketch here, and I've gathered all my photos and my papers, and I am going to use this avocado cardstock for my base page. So I went ahead and I pre-cut all of my pieces for this layout. Very unusual, but this sketch actually included dimensions for all of the pieces, including photo sizes. So that's quite unusual for typical sketches that you find on the internet. But I was pretty lucky with this one. So I'm just attaching them down. You're going to see in just a second here, I made a little bit of a mistake. And I put this piece on upside down. So I just had to pull it off and put it back on the right way. And then I'm going to actually dry fit. So I'm not attaching this striped paper because it has that white piece at the top. And I don't want it to be white at the top. Really doesn't have a huge impact on the layout, but it's just something that I wanted to do. So I'm going to dry fit it so that I can make some adjustments that I'm going to show you in just a few minutes. I have this title from my stash that I've had forever, and so I'm really glad that I'm finally able to use it on something. And the only thing is I don't actually like it sitting down there, so I'm going to shift the sketch around and do things a little bit differently. Now that I've dry fit where I want things, I'm able to cut that paper, and then I can flip it around so that that white piece is actually going to be under the photo. I realized after that on this other side there will be a little bit showing, but not enough to really be that noticeable. As long as things are butted up nice and tight together, you're not even going to notice it. So as you can see, while I'm laying this one down, I actually left a little bit of a gap, only because it lined up better that way and it's going to be covered. But obviously on this side I can't leave a gap, so I've got it nice and tight, but obviously my cut wasn't totally square. So I just have to nip a little bit off of that piece so that it lines up, and that's going to help to hide that seam. And I can't imagine anybody would ever even see it unless I pointed it out to them. So now I can go ahead and put my photos down, but I wanted to sand the edges first. So now that I've got that done off camera, I can put them down, and now they're going to show up a little bit better on my avocado background. Because the avocado is very close to the grass color in here, which I love, but you just want those photos to pop out a little bit more. So now in order to put down my photos nice and straight and square, I've pulled out my T-square ruler. You'll notice the T of the square is not on there, but I just use the grid marks on the ruler to line up to the bottom of my page, and then I use that to position my photos. And I gotta tell you, I love this ruler. Originally Close to My Heart had one before the T-square, and it was just this part, and I used it so much that I actually wore out the lines on it. So I was so excited when they brought back this new one with the T-square on it, and I do use the T-square portion sometimes, but a lot of the time I just use it without, and I use the grid part of it. So I'm just playing around with the position of this title. I'm just moving it slightly to see where it looks best. I decide to just center it in that empty space. And as I mentioned before, this has been in my stash for quite some time. It's a title from Me and My Big Ideas, and I picked it up at HomeSense years ago. It was like a pack of 6 titles, which was pretty cool. And I've used most of them, but I think I still have one more left. So hopefully you will see that turning up somewhere on a layout. Now I'm just going to attach the pictures on the other side. So you see me using my grid ruler again. I just want to line up the top of those photos with the top of the title. You'll see I'm actually off by 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just adjusting it so that it lines up better. And when I flip it over now, it's going to just look that much better. I'm going to grab my smaller photos there, and I can now put them down and line them up. And same thing, I'm kind of playing around with the placement, but I decide I want them centered on the 4x6 photos. So I'm just going to start with my middle one, get it in the middle, and then space out the other ones. And now it's time to start embellishing. So I've taken a few scrap pieces of the blue pattern paper from the same paper pack, and I've cut it with one of my Elizabeth Craft dies so that it looks like paper torn out of a book. And I also have these badge buttons. So I have a bunch of those in my stash from Close to My Heart and from other companies. And I found a couple that actually coordinate very nicely with this layout. And then the other thing that I have are the paperboard stars. So these are the craft cardstock stars from Close to My Heart, and I've pulled out a bunch of those and I'm playing around with placement on those as well. So my next little embellishment cluster is on the left page up there at the top, and you'll notice it's starting to form a visual triangle. I've pulled out another craft cardstock star, and this time it has a circle with the star opening, and so I'm going to put it on a backing piece of white daisy cardstock so that it will stand out a little bit more, and I'm just going to place that up at the title. So I'm just preparing a few more of these little stars, and you'll notice each time I have the scissors there, I'm just cutting the little tab that's left behind when you pull it off of its carrier sheet. So now I'm going to create another little embellishment cluster down at the bottom here. So I mentioned that visual triangles. So you see it moves your eye around the page. It helps it to look more pleasing to the eye. And I try to work in groups of threes because again, threes are a pleasing to the eye number for groupings. So I'm just playing around and adding these stars. I popped up one, I've got another badge button, and then I'm going to look at adding some gems to my layout. So off camera I made this little journal die cut from Elizabeth Craft's stamp and die set, and I just found some baker's twine. I have a little bag where I stash ribbons and things that I get in other packaging, and I cut the little ribbons off of your clothes that keep them on the hanger, and I save those as well. They come in actually really handy. It's amazing how much they end up matching your scrapbook layout sometimes. But anyway, I'm just putting this star back down, so I'd pulled it off because it was already stuck down, and I just felt that corner needed something more. So I added this tag, and now I'm actually looking on my Evernote because I need a star. So I'm able to search on stars. I'm able to search into the book that is just stamps. And I want a star that's going to fit in that one that has the white daisy backing. So I had done this technique on a layout recently, and it actually is really cool. So I found the stamp that I wanted, and it actually is the same stamp that I used the last time. It's a star shape, but it's almost like a dashed line. So I'm going to use the sapphire just to highlight some of the darker colors on this layout. And as you see, it's just a little stamp in the middle, and it just adds some dimension. But to top it off, I'm grabbing my gems. So the new Close to My Heart gems actually have star shapes and heart shapes, as well as the circles. And so it fits perfectly inside of this little stamped star, and I just love that. It just adds such a nice little touch. But because I've added one there, I want to add some more, and I don't know, I had a hard time figuring out the placement of these, but I finally commit to a few spots. My favorite being these ones here that I'm going to attach onto the badge buttons. So these little tiny ones, they just look so cute, and especially this one in the center of the camera. How adorable is that? And by doing that, it just helped me kind of figure out the placement of the rest of them. And as you see, I actually ended up using some of the dots instead of the star. And as I finish up just putting the rest of these dots on there, I just want to say thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful day.